All right, let's begin this week's lesson in adaptive Wing Chun. Okay? This week, and for each week coming up in the next month, we're going to focus on a separate block with fundamental strikes that come from that same block. Okay? After we've completed all 4 of the main blocks that I originally started with, we're going to show you in the next following weeks how we're adapting them to actual martial, or I'd say actual boxing situations, kickboxing situations, and grappling situations. Okay? But before you get to the adaptive part, we gotta go with the traditional. Okay? Also very excited that we're also going to explore in the upcoming weeks the different forms of Wing Chun and how we can apply them to the self-defense basis. Okay? So, to begin with, we're going to focus on Tan Sao. Okay? Tan Sao is the first and foremost block that you're going to, or interception you're going to learn in Wing Chun. At least what my teacher, Jun Fa Sifu, showed. And when we're talking about this, it is really misunderstood in many ways. What do I mean by that? It's not just simply driving out from the elbow. You're driving out from the fingertips to the elbow, to the hips. Boom. So you are, if my arm's the other opponent, I'm going over top of it. Okay? Now, if we're going to warm up, simple. Notice other hand comes back for defense purposes. Okay, out. Okay? Now, when we're applying this, we're going to look at it in 2 different concepts. 1, crossing, and 2, intersecting from the outside ranges. Okay? So, crossing, dealing with midline attack, we are going to shoot directly over the top. For outer attacks, it's going in a 45-degree angle outward. Okay? So, when we're looking at this, how do we apply this? Okay? For the solo drills that we're looking at now to build up body function and more importantly body dynamics, okay, this is how we start to build this. So, as we strike, let's talk about the outside ones first actually. One arm comes out, other hand comes in on the direct line of attack. So 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm going in this direction. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay? So again, arms deflecting, the outer strike coming in, this hand's coming in straight on. This is very similar to when you look at the Krav Maga guys when they're doing the bursting. Same, similar concept. Okay? So when we're applying this now, let's look at the middle portion. As we're directing over that oncoming attack, our block, our Tan Sao has now become the interception. Now our strike is coming over top of it. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. To the side. 1. Notice coming from the elbow. Over. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay. Now, another strike to come into play here is our finger jab. Very essential right from the get-go. Aiming for the eyes or the throat. Okay. Same exact concept here. Now, instead of a vertical fist, it's nice and flat. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Same thing here. 1, 2. 1, 2. Third one that we worked with from the last video, palm strike, actually first, middle section portion. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. It's coming directly over top of each other. Keep that in mind. okay? So, last one that we're talking about for the introductory concepts, palm strike, okay? 1, 2. 1, 2. Then comes into 1. Now this is vertical, can also be horizontal. Notice this is protecting, this is offense, destruction. Same thing, okay? So those are 3 fundamental concepts for the upper body. Now, let's take into another account the lower body, okay? And this one we're going to focus primarily and solely on the midline cross. So as that arm's coming out, you shoot that oblique kick to the leg, thigh, knee, etc. Same thing. Boom. Other side. Fist alignment. And then also applying in actual movement wise. Okay? Now, we're going to talk talk about tonsile this week. Okay? So instead of going through all the blocks in the same concept, we're going to go through the same drill for the next 4 weeks by showing a different blocking maneuver with it. Okay? So, tonsile, actually, let's first get back, rewind. I'm going to get back to the vertical fist. So again, vertical fist, the knuckles are alignment, all completely straight. One hand's coming from behind, going straight up. Now in Wing Chun, we like to strike with these 3 knuckles, 3 knuckle contact. And more importantly, you're twisting outward into the person, so you're digging in. So once you make contact, so whether you make contact with the first 2 knuckles, and then dive in with the 3rd, that's up for debate. So, as we're continuing, 1, shooting straight over, shooting straight over. Now if I'm looking at my main line of attack, 1, 2, 3. I'm keeping that direct line going toward the person's solar plexus, nose, or groin. Okay? So, let's start out with a 2 count. 1, 2. 1, 2. Notice I'm leading with the lead hand. Just like a boxer's jab, I'm using that lead hand as a distraction or a quick technique. 1, 2. 1, 2. Now this isn't always the case, especially when we get to the lop style. But we'll talk about that when we come to it. Okay? So, 2 count. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay? Explosive power from the hips. Okay? 3 count. 1, 2, 3. Same exact target. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we move forward with 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This side. 1, 2. 3 count. 1, 2, 3. And then 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Coming right back here. Okay? So, when we're applying this in motion, we have to keep in mind that when you're moving, unlike the Japanese concepts where we're leading with the ball of the foot, a lot of Chinese ones want to lead with the heel. And likewise, going backward. Same exact concept. So, when we're applying this, we're going to do one thing about movement-wise. We're talking about applying the punches and the blocks. We talked about our strikes in the past. Now let's talk about applying them in an actual movement manner. So when we're talking about punching and movement, let's talk about breaking it down to 4 steps when we're beginning. So first one, 2 steps, or 2 punches per step. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Same thing going back. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. This is one thing that's very distinct about adaptive Wing Chun. A lot of Wing Chun guys don't like to go back. They like to go forward. Okay? Or to the sides. That limits yourself to just 3 directions. We're actually limiting you only to the frontal and side. You also need to be able to move backwards. Okay? So, Going forward, 2 punches. 1, 2, 1, 2. Going back, 1, 2, 1, 2. Just like with the boxer's jab, we're using that lead hand to act as a distraction. Okay? Same thing going to 3 punches per step. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then going backwards. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay? And then finally 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Going back. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? When you're applying this, now you're starting to work movement. So same thing. Tan sao, tan sao, tan sao, tan sao. Going backwards. Tan sao, tan sao, tan sao. Okay? Then you mix it up. Tan sao, 1, 2, 3. Tan sao, 1, 2. Go back. Tan sao, 1, 2, 3, 4. Tan sao, 1, 2, 3, 4. Tan sao, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you continue onward in that same manner. Okay? So, when you're taking these drills, applying them, modify according to your height and your adaptability, I should say. Okay? Say, okay, I might not be able to get my arm fully this height. Okay, so move the hips. Change the direction. Okay? That's the whole purpose of adaptive Wing Chun. Adapting it to what works for you. Okay? So I have one last part for working the tan sao for tonight. Oh, before we forget, movement with the kicks. Okay? Same exact thing here. Boom. Okay? So let's say we're doing tan sao, kick, tan sao, kick, tan sao, kick. Same exact thing. Tan sao, oblique kick, tan sao, oblique kick. Okay? Keeping this in mind as we're progressing and retreating. Okay? We're never regressing, because even when we retreat, we are learning. We're still progressing mentally. Okay? This is a Wing Chun ring. This is made out of bamboo. Very simple, easy to work with wood. There's a lot of drills to work with on this. Okay? But to begin with, we're going to keep it to both tan sao and our vertical fist. Okay? Now, in the vertical fist wise, one hand is crossing, and this is a tool you may want to get later on. Okay? You just start moving in and out. So it's in a circular manner to start teaching you to go back to where the elbow is. 1, 2, 1, 2. Come to the side. 1, 2, 1, 2. Same thing with tan sao. As you're going to tan sao, you're constantly moving over and out. And it teaches you to control your movements. That way, when you're ready to go solo, and you're able to move accordingly. All right, that is the lesson for adaptive Wing Chun. See you next week.